Welcome back to Just Jew and Me. I am Donna.
And I am Adam. How is it going, Donna? How's your week going? What is going on? I'm shot out of a cannon for some reason. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, you do have a lot of energy. Have you taken a big nap?
I did take a nap earlier today. Nothing more than usual.
What's going on then?
I don't know. Can't I just be? Oh, you know why? Maybe because sometimes, so I go to therapy, and sometimes when I'm done with therapy, I'm either really drained or energized.
Oh, well, so yeah, I mean, it's kind of like going to the gym or like after a nap. That's how we started the episode.
Oh, Jesus, I'm already sweating because of
Why are
it.
you talking about Jesus on a Jewish podcast,
I
huh?
don't know. It's force of habit. It's force of habit.
Well, I say JFC a lot in our
You
text
do.
messages, and you're always like, what is that?
No, I don't. JFC. I use JFC all the time. What is
Oh,
that?
so maybe other people don't know what that is. Like
Of
people
course.
always are like, what is JFC? I'm like, how do you not know that? But
Yeah.
people now in the comments probably are going to be like, wait, what is J? By the way,
Yes.
you guys, here on YouTube, for those of you that are watching the episode, thank you for the comments. Are you, Adam, ever looking at our YouTube comments? They're so
Yeah.
lovely.
And there's a couple of them that are like
Horrible.
no, but there's a couple of them are paragraph long comments, and I love it because they took the time to actually comment and actually thoughtfully respond to what we're saying, and it's very, very nice.
Sometimes you will get some really, really nasty comments, but that's YouTube, and especially because we're talking about pretty, high, I would say like controversial conversations.
Something that shouldn't be polarizing, but apparently it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way it is, right? Like there's always going to be those people that are going to be like, that is not the case, and da 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 da. But I mean, this is just the nature of the game. I get really, really nasty comments talking about the silliest topics. So you would only imagine how nasty comments get when we're talking about, religion and war.
Yes, especially these days. But yes,
yeah,
I do agree. Those comments are what we've seen so far. Those comments in our YouTube channel has been great. They have been great. And I am very happy to see people responding so positively.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for continuing to leave those comments. And also, like, what's so cool, what I really like is like, I don't know, it's always really nice to me to see that people are enjoying I think people like seeing, obviously we get into bigger conversations, more important and like, I would say heavy conversations sometimes, but I think they just like seeing two Jewish people just like have conversations, like chatting, just normal, whether it's about relationships, kids, life, funny things too, and it doesn't always need to be so serious from the beginning or like a historical conversation straight off the bat, right?
I mean,
Sorry. Something
auto
played in the background.
Oh, no. I mean, we usually start off every episode talking about our week and what we've done, and we talked about how fat my finger got last week, and now we have to chop a ring off of it. Like,
oh yeah, your finger. I was like, we talked about your finger. I don't remember that at all.
The ring finger. Yes, we had to talk about sawing off almost my finger.
Oh, how is your finger?
Oh, it's good. Thank you for caring about my finger.
Is it better?
Yes, it's better. It fits the ring finger. The ring fits.
If the ring fits, you must acquit. Is that how it goes?
I don't know. Is that part of your Karen Reed trial?
Don't even get me started.
And see, even I brought it up this time. Not even you did.
Well, this has been a very, very tough week in the justice system, I will tell you, because my favorite topic in the world is the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni trial. And yesterday we were dealt a very devastating blow in the justice system. And then today we're nearing the end of the Karen Reed trial. And most likely the jury is going to be deliberating by the end of this week or the beginning of next week. So it's feeling very, very scary because we're watching in real life this judge who's so corrupt. But now, honestly, Adam, I hate to bring it back to October 7th, but
oh God, I can't wait for this connection.
No, but October 7th has opened my eyes to the corruption of everything, everything. And truly, I see the world so differently since October 7th. It started with, I I was literally living in Delulu land, I think, before October 7th. I was living in a dreamland. I remember walking around. I don't remember life before then because I think I believed everything I read. I
Mhm.
believed all the news I was told.
Mhm.
I walked around. I mean, I heard that there was fake news. Like you hear those tokenized, like fake news or like it's not true or the one side is lying to you or this person is telling you the. But then after October 7th, and we've had these conversations so many times about, how the New York Times totally lied about the hospital bombing and et cetera. So we've seen with our own eyes how we were lied to as a
Right.
world about the war. But it's crazy, crazy, crazy watching these live trials and seeing in front of our eyes how half of the truth is like not able to be shared because the judge will not allow the jury to hear the truth. Like she cut and there's nothing you can do. Like you're tied, your hands are tied,
Yeah.
and this is on camera for millions of people to see. And everyone's up in arms in the comments. People are freaking out. And this is a woman's life on the line. And I'm like, add it to the list of the injustices of the world. Like it just feels so freaking annoying and upsetting.
Well, once this is over, what are you going to talk about on your other podcast?
I know people are asking about that all. There's always going to be something to talk
I know.
about.
I'm just. Are you going to be as obsessed with whatever you're talking about as you are with this?
I think that like I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's always going to be something I think that you're going to get obsessed with, but no, I mean, I don't know. I honestly, I'm worried. I'm worried because I've become so entrenched in this,
Right.
but I think it's the general feeling of wanting justice for the good people, in my opinion, who I think are wronged. And I think that's the overall consensus. I feel like in life right now, and this is how we bring it back to just Jew and me, I feel like not all of Israel is innocent. Not all Jews are innocent. Not all, it's not one or the other. It's not good versus bad. But in general, we see it as the good versus the evil in terms of like terrorists, people that want to kill, people that live to murder, people that want to end, Western civilization versus people that like love family and like want to thrive and grow their family and like celebrate holidays and food and culture and like that's how I see it. And I think it's all related. It's like it's upsetting because that's why we get so triggered when we're seeing all these things on social media because we're like, why aren't you seeing the truth? Like, why
Right.
can't? And that's why I think all these cases upset me so much because I feel frustrated. I feel like everyone's got blinders on that doesn't see it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I hear you, and it's that constant back and forth that you have with anybody online who doesn't see it your way, and it's truly frustrating because you know everything is not black and white, like you're saying, right? It really isn't. But I, deep in my heart, know what is right as opposed to knowing what is wrong. And the fact that there are some people that still don't see what we see and still continue to hear certain things about, you know, how terrible Israel is and how Palestine is occupied and all of these things.
Or
And it's
genocide, et cetera, et
all
cetera.
of it boggles my mind. And I think we talked so much about it last week and the week after. It's like it starts with the media and then it trickles down to social media, and that's how everything gets spread, and then people commentate on it, and then those get spread, and the algorithm kind of just splashes those over everything, and you just kind of, it's in people's faces.
So, what's the hardest part about it, I think, is that no matter what your opinion is about any of these things, is you will always be able to find a video or a fact that backs you up.
Yep.
So like no matter how strong we feel in whatever we believe, someone else can say, but look, and they will feel right. So, without going into detail of what this was, on Friday night, I went to, I was having a drink with a friend, and I ran into a guy that I used to work with peripherally. He's a manager, he's a talent manager. So I did deals with him, but like, and our friend, we had mutual friends, but we never like actually worked in the same office, but we were Facebook friends, Instagram friends for years. So like we knew each other, but he doesn't follow me anymore. I don't follow him because I have a new account. Like it's one of those people, you know? This is a man that's probably 10 years older than me. Lovely. We loved it. Like we were very friendly, gay, married. He's funny, fun. I recognize him. He recognizes me. I mean, he called me with my last name. Like he doesn't even know maybe that I'm married. Like
Oh,
that's how long ago we've
he called
talked.
you. He called you gurgly.
Don't make fun of me. So he's like, come over and say hi to me and my husband. And I sat with them and we had a glass of wine for, you know, as long as I could stay until I had to get my kids. And we were having so much fun and chatting. Of course, the conversation goes into not politics per se, but like a little bit of a somewhat political, like I don't want to get into specifics, but you know what I mean. So I realize that they say something that is factually incorrect based on it was something that was told, it happened years and years and years ago, like 8 years ago. And it was like one of those things that was spread by the media over and over and over and over and over. And like the pundits said it over and over and over to the point where I had to question it as well because I believed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I even had to look it up online like 3 years ago because I believed it. And I had to find the transcript and find the video and even find it on Snopes because which is like such a funny thing. Is Snopes even a thing? But I know it's on
Yeah.
Snopes. Like, what is Snopes? It's
I don't
just like,
know. I don't know
and who funds
started.
Snopes? Like,
I
is
don't know.
Snopes even, can we even trust Snopes?
No, probably not. We can't trust anything, Donna. We know this.
Snopes is funded by Fox News. I have
Yes,
no idea.
everything.
I mean, seriously. So, but like, I know for a fact that I've gone through and I've done the research to find out that this one thing that I was convinced was true and everyone said it was true is not in fact true. And so this person that I'm talking to is like, well, that happened. And I said, no, it didn't, because I went through this entire thing and I'm sure of it. So I said, I have to go get my kids. I'm going to text you tonight, the Snopes article. And he's like, okay, I love you. Good to see you, whatever. So I get in my car and I'm like looking for it. And sure enough, it comes up. I watch it myself. I read the transcripts. I'm like, there you go.
Are you driving and snoping at the same time?
No, I go to where my kid's at baseball practice. So I'm just sitting in front of the place waiting for him to get in the car. So I text him. I go, love to see you. Loved seeing you tonight. Here you go. Here's the article. Send it. He doesn't respond. He was going to a play or something. He doesn't respond. 2 hours later, I get a text back from him. He says, loved seeing you too. I still don't believe it. So the Snopes article with the transcript and the video saying this is categorically false, this did not happen, I still don't believe it.
Yep.
When you are so convinced that something is true, nothing will change your mind. So no, if you are convinced that Israel is committing a genocide, I don't think anything will ever change these people's minds, no matter how long, no matter how far, no matter, even if Gaza came out and said we lied.
Yeah, and you can see it like just there's so many creators on Instagram and TikTok that do these like on the street interviews, and they go out to either students at Columbia or they do, you know, go do random stuff in New York and talk to these anti-Israel demonstrators, and you know they come up with evidence, they prove everything, and these people still don't recognize it. They're still not agreeing with facts. And you can't argue with that. What are you supposed to do at that point? Like, when we talk about all of this stuff, I pray that something else happens in this world where they move all of their effort and all of their demonstration over to that.
Well, this week has been kind of nice.
Well, it has and it hasn't. And
Well,
I,
it's
I
been
know what you're
awful.
I know what you're getting into, and let's talk about it real quick. Because
Yeah.
and the reason I'm gonna say it hasn't, because of stuff that I've been seeing in the last few hours. So
Mm.
obviously what's going on, what we're talking, not obviously, but what we're talking about is going on in Los Angeles. There's a lot of different ICE raids that are happening, throughout Southern
Oh,
California.
I was talking about the chaos that's happening, not the. I
Which
mean, oh,
chaos?
well, the unfolding that's happening because of the ice raids.
Yeah, but I'm getting into that. It's
Oh,
all of it.
okay,
It's all of
okay.
it.
Sorry.
So all the ICE raids are happening, and with everything that's going on, there's a lot of different protests that are counteracting that. That is, of course, turning into riots. And this
Because
seems to
everything turns into riots.
everything. Because even like during the 2020 BLM stuff, um, if you were on the liberal Democrat side, you didn't necessarily want to acknowledge the fact that shit was being destroyed because it was going against Donald Trump. But you look back and shit was being destroyed, and it was horrifying what was happening to people's businesses. So the same thing is sort of happening now, right? You have you have ICE doing their thing, and they're basically it's catapulted into this whole uh, protests, which of course turned into a riot, and there's lots of fights against, the National Guard, police. Now the Marines are called in. It's been a shit show for the last 4 days. I haven't seen too much of what's going on today, but I'm sure it's going to continue into the night. The reason
But
that's
tonight, I think is like night 5.
night 5 exactly. So I know I'm guessing what you're getting into is because there's so much news coverage on this. There's less news coverage
Well,
on
the energy is putting there because a
right.
lot of the protesters, I think, are similar in vein
Yes.
because a lot of them are actually even wearing Hamas
Well,
gear and in keffiyehs.
that's what I'm going to say is that if you really take a deep look into it, you'll see that a lot of these protesters slash rioters are um, are wearing keffiyehs. They're holding Palestinian flags. They are graffitiing on Jewish businesses about still the same stuff. So they're grouping everything together when these two things should not be related. But because it's the same people, they're basically doing this together, and it's horrifying. It's like I don't like seeing I don't like seeing all these riots, fighting between law enforcement and people. I don't like seeing businesses being looted and broken into and burned down. It's not the way to do it. It's not the way to make change. All it's doing is creating absolute chaos. And if rioters really think that this is going to change uh, policy, and if this is going to convince someone like Donald Trump to stop doing what he's doing, they're insane. It's just not going to happen. So I've been focusing a lot on it. I was watching last night instead of watching the end of Handmaid's Tale. I decided, I'm going to watch the end of the Dodger game and then watch the news. And then I watched the news and I got depressed because I was flipping back and forth between the different news channels, and it was all just depressing to me. So I hear what you're saying. It was a lot of the focus has come off of the pro Palestine, anti Israel stuff, but I still think, as you said, it's the same people doing it.
It's very similar to the same people. And also, I feel like it's, I have a lot of thoughts on it,
Wow,
obviously.
spew them out. Let's hear it.
Um, I've been called a lot of things in the last couple of days with my thoughts on it. And I worry a little bit that it makes me look insensitive and it makes me look like I don't have a heart or anything. I am a real, real.
Real.
I am a real, like, I'm really torn on this situation. Like, really, I am. Because I truly care so much. Like, my heart hurts for people that are pulled from, good people that are pulled and told that they have to, go home if they are here and they're not doing anything wrong except living illegally, right? Because when you're saying you're not doing anything wrong except living illegally, I mean, that's tough. You are doing something wrong. You're living in a country illegally. I hate to say it. You are.
Mm-hmm.
Illegal immigration is a very tough thing, but we would not be allowed to live in any other country illegally. You and I, Adam. Okay. It's not a racist thing. There are people from every country being detained. I follow many people across political spectrums who are showing all kinds of different things. And it's very easy to say, this is just for Latino. Well, yeah, we share a border with Mexico.
Right.
So
The population's high enough here with Latinos because they, we
that's
get
the easiest
we
country
get
to
yeah,
to
Mexico and Central America. It's easiest to come over here from there. Yeah, of
that's
course.
going to be the most immigration that we're going to come that's going to come in, but that's not going to be the majority of immigrants in every single. It depends where you live. That's where your immigration's coming in from. Exactly. So, but it's not like they're only going that way. Like it doesn't matter. They're not discriminatory on where you're coming from. It's if you're here legally or not. And I understand the sob stories about, where you are and what you are, but you have to look at the facts, right? So yesterday I did like deep diving on the facts because I remember that the numbers with presidents before were high, 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 high. And Clinton and Bush had 10 million deportations, in their presidencies. And no one batted an eye. And American jobs were phenomenal at the time. And Obama's deportations were so high. So I said something yesterday in my stories and people attacked me. Well, they weren't being done this way. There was due process. Well, so if you do some Googling, that's not the case. In fact, I have the article right here. According to the ACLU, okay, that is the American Civil Liberties Union, I believe it stands for. The American Civil Liberties Union. It says this is from 2014 and 2015. This is from Obama's presidency. The majority of people deported from the United States each year are not given a chance to have their claims heard in court. People denied of their due process rights include asylum seekers, children, people with mental disabilities, U.S. citizens, and people lawfully working in and visiting the United States. They already had rights or claims to stay in the United States, but that wasn't enough to protect them. For these individuals, their fates were decided by immigration enforcement officers, not judges. There are so many stories. She was forced to leave behind the only life she knew, but she should have been allowed to stay. About transgender women, about kids, about asylum seekers, about mother of U.S. autistic home. There's thousands of stories of this during Obama's presidency. Why did we not hear about it? Because the media chooses what stories and when to put them, because the media decides that they don't like this government and the media decided that they like that government. And we, as Jews and lovers of Israel, should be the first people to recognize when the media picks and chooses what stories they want to highlight. And that's how I've come to decide, like, do I think Trump is great in every way? No. This is not about that. It's just about recognizing media decides what stories to highlight. That's it. There are the stories. They're here. ACLU has posted hundreds of stories of people during Obama. Do you think every single person that was deported during Obama's era was like deported with due process? Every single one? It was like a
Guess not.
perfect, beautiful story.
No.
Bullshit. Someone emailed me yesterday, someone DM'd me. She said, I worked for the Department of Defense on the Santa Fe border or whatever, New Mexico border, sorry. And she said, Donna, there were truckloads and truckloads of people denied entry and they were thrown into trucks, passing out, women, children. No one cared. Truckloads of them during the Obama era. Like, do you think they were treated well? This
No.
is such a bullshit. They only want to highlight it this era.
Well,
So
I think it's a combination, Donna. I think it's that, but I also think, if we look back to 2016 or even 2015,
yeah,
when the election, when they were mid campaigning between, when Trump was up there against Hillary, um, the rhetoric he was using, and he was new up there. He was just learning how to be in politics and do the things that he was saying caught people very much off guard. Because when you think about any other politician prior to that, if we're talking about campaigning off of immigration and fixing the system and helping borders and whatnot, no one said it the way that Trump said it. And I think what happened was Trump set this off in motion, right? When he started talking about, I'm not saying he said it was everybody, but when he starts talking about rapists and criminals and
is
killers,
this 2016?
right? This is back
So I
then.
don't even remember any of it
So
because I was like so off put by him then.
right.
Like I don't remember anything.
So he had started this type of rhetoric where a lot of people who had voted for him that time, right? They thought the same way, and they still, I mean, people obviously still do, but they thought the same way, that in their minds are like, oh, they're all here, they're all criminals, they're all killers, they're rapists, all of these things that he was saying. And I think what happens is, you're right. I think the combination of that, and that's really what started people disliking him and really
Because he gave immigrants a really negative connotation,
right.
and so many are not.
Right.
And I agree with that.
And what people started thinking was that he is completely racist because of what he's saying. They're coming over the border, they're rapists, this and that. All of
Oh,
these
okay.
words, right?
Yeah.
So I think when you think about what he said and the way he said it, it set people off in a bad way. And I think the media took a hold of that. So people saw these press conferences, and then the media added fuel to that fire. And it just continued because he put this such in the forefront of his campaign. If you look back at Obama, or even previous to that, even Bush, immigration is always a part of somebody's campaign, but it's not the focus. So to me, I think a lot of it is because Trump, whether it was 2016, whether it was 2020 or 2000 or 2024, he put so much of a focus on it. And I think because he did that, and because he talks so much about the border and immigration, people jumped onto that. They already don't like Trump the way anyway, especially now, right? They are going to jump into that even more. So I think it's a combination of the way he came out guns blazing at the beginning, 10 years ago at this point, and then the media latching on to that and not latching on to when it was Obama doing it or Bush doing it. So there's so many things at play here that it really kind of it creates the chaos that we live in today. It creates everything. And as we've talked about, the media has so much responsibility, coupled with a lot of social media algorithms, into creating these different echo chambers. And so many people are caught up in these things. So it's a fucking weird time, man. It's just bizarre with all of this.
Yeah. Now I just remembered the whole wall. I forgot all about that.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't really talked about the wall at all this term. I mean, he talked a
No.
lot about the wall before.
I think that, it's tough. I mean, this is not in any way to sound like in a weird way or whatever, but my housekeeper, a lot of us have weekly housekeepers. I have one who comes once a week to help, and her name is Nydia. And I've worked with her. She's come and helped like over almost 10 years. And she just got her papers like in the last few years. I mean, I can't remember exactly. So she came yesterday, And I felt uncomfortable because, like, I didn't know if I should ask her. Like, I don't know. She lives downtown, but I don't know, like, how close she is.
Mm.
Yesterday, when she came, it was still closer to Paramount. It wasn't, like, really downtown, so I didn't really know how close she was to it. But she said, "Are you watching the news? Did you see the news?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "It's so sad." And so immediately I was like, okay, I don't know if she's like, I don't know what part is sad. I don't know what. And I said, yeah, because I'm sad also, by the way. Like, the whole thing is sad.
Hmm.
Everything is sad. I feel horrible for anyone who feels scared that their lives are going to be torn apart. I feel the whole thing feels,
It
scary
feels,
and sad.
it kind of feels, sorry, it kind of feels inhumane. And that's what the whole thing to me has always been the problem with this. But I'll get into that after. Continue what you were going to say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And she goes, "Yeah, sad." And I said, "Yeah, sad, what ice, like she speaks, very little English, and my Spanish has really gone out the window since I don't practice as often as I used to." So I said, "Yeah, ice." And she goes, "Yeah, no, no, the rioters." That's what she said, the riots, sad, the
Mm.
fires. That's what she said. And I said, "Oh," and she goes, "It's no good because it's not what you want. It doesn't." She basically is saying, like, it makes it bad for Los Angeles. Like, it doesn't help your case, is
Right.
what she was basically saying. So what I recognize, and from listening to a lot of interviews, a lot of immigrants, legal immigrants that have gone through the process are very frustrated by this because they've gone through the process. Like,
Right,
she's
of
gone
course.
through the process. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I don't think it's an easy process. And maybe that's the problem, is that it needs to be a little easier, the whole,
Oh,
process.
yes.
That's the big issue, is
Yep.
how do we streamline it? How do we facilitate that? Um, but, you know, I think it's a struggle. I know a lot of Jewish activists are posting about it because there's some sort of, like, connection. I did get a comment yesterday. As a Jew, you should have more of a heart. And that I'm struggling with that one because I'm like, but I do have a heart. I do. But I also believe in the fact that our country has also been inundated with a lot of really bad eggs, not from Mexico necessarily. Although not everyone that's come in from Mexico has been, perfect. There's always
Of
going to be
course.
bad people from everywhere. And I love, it's not that I'm against Latinos. This is not just like a conversation against Mexico. I'm talking about a lot of the Free Palestine situation in this conversation too, because of course, look at what we've experienced for the last 600 days, and look at all the research we've done through October 8th, that documentary, and all of this infiltration of, like, this anti-America shit. I'm like, wait, how do I fight against illegal immigration? Like, I don't necessarily want illegal immigration too. So, like, I don't know. I'm torn. What do you think?
It's tough because you some of these um, people who are fleeing their countries are fleeing regimes that are extremely dangerous. They're fleeing places that are where could be life or death situations. So the idea that they're coming to a place like the United States makes a lot of sense because we do have a lot of freedoms here. We do, no matter what, if you come here, you can pretty much find some kind of job to live your life, and without being in fear of something that's going to happen with either a government cartel that's coming to try to kill you.
Yeah.
Well, I understand the the reason people are coming, and I think you hit it on the head, is when you said legal immigration needs to be easier. It needs to not only be easier, but it needs to be quicker, because a lot of times what's happening is that people are waiting
They get stuck in the process, and then
very
they're
much.
SOL.
Right, and they get stuck and stuck and stuck. And I think the only way to fix this, at least the immigration part, is to do that. Now, that doesn't fix what's happening now, because we already have a shit ton of people that are in this country illegally. So what do you do with them? And that's kind of like, they've already come over the border. And that's what's happening now. And I hate people being torn from families, people being torn
Horrible.
from their lives. And that's when I said it feels there's a part of this to me that feels inhumane, right? The idea of like going to a Home Depot and taking people,
that are
the
trying to
day
find
workers
work.
that are trying to find work, picking them up and bringing them, and detaining them.
It's very sad.
And it's not, and this is where I don't know what the answer is, and that's the problem. That everybody claims they have a fucking answer, but there is no
No one has an
perfect
answer.
answer.
That's why we're in chaos.
Right. And it's I can't sit here and say, oh, we should be doing. I don't know what we should do.
But
I have no clue.
the problem is there's you you can't it can't be case by case. You
I
can't
know.
be like, are you a nice person? Okay, stay. Are you a bad person? Okay, go. Like that's the problem. This is not defending your life, right?
Anyway,
Like
good movie.
remember that movie?
Great movie. Albert
One of
Brooks.
my favorite movies of all time.
I always kind of think about that when I wonder if when I pass away, that's what it's really like. 'Cause that would be to relive all of those moments in your life.
When he's at the sushi restaurant and they're like, "How long are you here?" He goes, 9 days. 9 days. 9 days. Best. And then he like orders something and it's like right there and he's like, "This is the best sushi I've ever had."
And you never fill up. You just keep eating.
Oh, and then Meryl Streep is like so happy.
I know.
That is the best movie ever. So, but that's the problem is they don't. It's such a big issue that you don't have time to like question, the character of so many. I don't know how you answer the problem, but I don't think the media does see the problem is I wish the media did like a kumbaya and said, what are we doing? Because we're fanning the flames of society like going up in flames basically. If we keep, you know, if we keep kind of like highlighting all these like crazy stories, that's the problem. These things I think have been happening forever and
Mhm.
I don't know how it used to happen under Obama. Do you think that it didn't happen this way?
I mean, it may have. I don't know. But
ICE
again,
has been around since 2004.
right.
So what? You think that they all of a sudden started doing it this way 2 days ago or 90 days ago or 6 months ago?
I have no idea how they used to do it.
I'm
I
sure
don't
they
know.
were doing it the same way.
Well, I'm guessing. I mean, again, complete guess. I don't know if they're going into uh, a Home Depot or doing that and making it very public or whatever it is. I don't know how it
But
how it happened.
my friend Zach, who grew up here in Los Angeles in like more of an inner city area, said his whole life he remembers hearing ICE is here, ICE is here.
So there you go.
So like, I don't think this is new.
No, but I think as we said, it's what Trump ran on, fueled by the media, who is choosing to talk about it now rather than talk about it in the past.
But that's what I'm saying. The media is picking up on every single thing that they can to vilify anything that this government does because they despise, truthfully, legacy media other than, and that's the truth. I mean, whether or not you like him or hate him, and trust me, he does a lot of things that are very off-putting. Trump is not like in any way an angel. But the legacy media other than Fox News hates Donald Trump,
Oh, of course,
hates.
of
And
course.
so when Biden was president, no matter what he did, he would have never gotten pushback like this. Obama, same. And in general, I don't think. And I'm reading Jake Tapper's book. Don't even get me started on what was going on in the White House during his presidency. So like, it just feels like they're fanning the flames of it. And it's kind of confusing because as the media, yes, you want to kind of share the truth, but also like, what is your goal in this world? Are we trying to create anarchy in our country? Because they're doing a really good job.
The goal is money. The goal is always money.
Clicks and money.
It's always money. I mean, they are putting out they're putting out articles, they're putting out feeds, they're putting out whatever it is to get you to click on it so they profit. It's all it is. It's all about money.
That's why
And
they're putting reporters in the middle of riots.
their way of getting money is to report it that way. Fox News's version of getting money is to report it a different way.
Yeah.
It's all about money. No matter what legacy media you follow, you watch, it doesn't make a difference. It's all about money. It's always going to be about money. But there's just different ways of obtaining that money, and
What it,
it's kind of capitalism.
yeah, I mean, it's so true. It's all about clickbait.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about oh my God, speaking of clickbait, let's change gears for a second on some Jew stuff. Did you see what Piers Morgan, who I can't even deal with, did you see what he tweeted about Michael Rappaport?
No.
Oh my
Okay.
God. You know, Michael Rappaport, how many times have we talked about how much we love Michael Rappaport and how he's like, obviously, he's like a little bit, you know, of a wild card with what he says, but he's been such an incredible, like, amazing mouthpiece for the Jews
Yeah.
since everything. And he decides, you know, Piers Morgan has all of a sudden decided to hate Israel in the last few months.
Yeah,
Like
he wasn't, by the way, he wasn't like that
no,
like maybe last year or a few months,
no.
even into December. And then all of a sudden it got very weird.
Well, he drank Candace Owens' juice. He
Yeah.
drank Joe Rogan's juice. He drank Dave Smith's juice.
Can you stop using the word juice?
He drank all these juices.
Lots of juices.
Drank all of these fucking juices. So, so he was on, when did he do this? He did this sometime last week. All of a sudden, he starts going off about Michael Rappaport, and he says, you know, Piers Morgan just always has something to say about everything, right?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't ever stop talking. And he says about Michael Rappaport that he's an embarrassment to Jewish people.
Oh, God.
Hold on. He says, well, I'm almost there.
Huh?
You don't speak for Jew. Okay. Michael Rappaport says Jewish people and anyone who believes Israel has a right to exist, aka Zionists. Stop going on that.
Stop going that way.
Stop going on that fat FUCK's Pierce Morgan show. I get the urge to explain to outsiders, but that pig wants chaos. He wants Jews and Zionists screaming at each other for clicks. Who gives a damn what that dumpy clown thinks? F that big bag of slop and any other slob who doesn't respect us or Israel. They're bitter in their souls because they'll never be us. I imagine this is probably a little bit after, I don't know if you saw a clip. He had Dave Smith and this woman on his show that he did not let speak.
Yeah.
Okay. So Piers Morgan responds and says, you don't speak for Jewish people, you foul-mouthed little troll. You embarrass them. Can you even?
Sorry.
He's
I don't
the
know.
worst.
These fucking Twitter feud, it was on Twitter or X or whatever the
Oh
hell
my
we call it.
God. The Twitter feuds over the last week have been
I know
insane.
between this and Musk and Trump.
And Simone Biles and Riley Gaines.
Oh my God. That's another one that was bonkers. Like that whole thing is crazy.
You and I should get in a Twitter fight. Maybe we'll get some more press for just you and me.
We should. It is, but that is, I mean, that is very much Michael Rappaport, and that is very much Piers Morgan. Like, I can't think of two better representative statements than what they've made, because that is exactly what Michael Rappaport would say, and it's exactly what Piers would say. So, yeah, Piers is pretty much a douchebag. I'm really upset about it because I used to find him very interesting, and I thought he had a lot of interesting people on his show. And I think he still does, but he's gone down this weird fucking path. Apparently, to you, he's drinking weird juices, and he's now an anti-Semite. I don't know what he is.
Well, he did get me back because a couple days after he talked about Greta.
Oh, let's talk about Greta.
Okay, we only have a few more minutes, so let's talk about Greta really fast. This is what he said. After Greta posted her pre-recorded video about getting kidnapped by Israel, which she didn't get kidnapped, but she said, "Oh, I'm Greta Thunberg," or whatever she said. We've been we've been kidnapped by Israel. Remember how she posted that video before she got kidnapped?
Oh, I've been watching everything all morning. Yes.
Okay. So she posted that video before she actually was kidnapped, which she wasn't kidnapped, but she posted that and everyone's like, "Oh my god, she's missing. She was kidnapped." Well, Pierce said, "Oh, shut up." Oh, shut up, Greta Thunberg, you attention seeking narcissist. What an insult to the actual hostages in Gaza who really were kidnapped. This stupid stunt is all about your ego and will make zero difference to the plight of innocent Palestinians caught up in this dreadful war. And I was like, okay, he came back a little bit.
Got back on your good side.
He like goes up and down a little bit.
I This is what pissed me off about it. Forget the little fucking publicity stunt about, by the way, the amount of sorry, I have so much to say. Greta came. The whole
How do you
idea
say her
was
last name?
Thunberg, like
No,
thumb.
but she says it like Thunberg.
Thunberg. Okay, Greta. The whole idea of this stupid boat trip,
The selfie
this
yacht.
selfie yacht, fucking asshole. Sorry, I have a lot to say. The whole idea of this was to bring aid to the Palestinians in Gaza. Now, if you've seen the selfie yacht, they can. What are they bringing? Like 3 bags of Lay's potato chips?
It was
To
not
Gaza?
even big enough for them.
Right, they could barely fit. So, what kind of aid are you bringing? And what is the point? So, not only is she putting together this stupid boat trip that is all PR driven, and it's to bring whatever type of stupid publicity to whatever she believes this cause is. Then she uses this word kidnapped. And that's what fucking killed me. Because the fact that she says kidnapped is the biggest insult that anybody could possibly say. She is people talk about privilege. Holy shit. The amount of Greta privilege there is, where she could be in this boat, have all this social media, have all these cameras follow her, basically for some kind of PR bullshit, and then be sent back to, where she came from. That's what privilege is. She doesn't know what being kidnapped is. Being kidnapped is being taken from a music festival.
Or your bed.
Or your bed. Watching your friends next to you being killed or raped, or both, and then dragged, being tortured and starved for now up to over 600 days. Yes, they've released some, but there are still people that are there, and we can never forget that. So the fact that she says and uses the word kidnap.
In a tunnel, by the way. In a tunnel with no windows, no light, no food. Like, half of them hardly eating. It's what is this? She was given a life vest and a sandwich.
Yeah, there's that picture of them giving her like a challah sandwich. I don't know what it was.
It looked good.
And she had this look on her face, like
smug.
This picture is my favorite.
Blockhead smile.
My favorite picture on the internet now.
We should make it the cover photo of this.
Oh, it's gonna be her stupid face up there. Again, the kidnap part is what's killing me. It's really, really insulting me. And it's insulting everybody who was there. It's insulting everybody who is still there. So, fuck you, Greta.
And the whole thing is she did it. She did this entire thing knowing this would happen because she wanted this to happen so that Israel would detain her so that she could say, look at Israel. They're horrible. They're scary, the IDF. And the IDF specifically did this because you can't just sail into, closed off waters. Hello. You can do this anywhere.
Right.
And there's a war there. Hi. And then secondly, she was offered to be shown October 7th, footage from October 7th, the war footage that has not been released because it's so graphic and it's so horrendous. It's like a 37-minute long video or something crazy. And it's literally video of babies and adults being shot and killed that Hamas took themselves and so many world officials were shown it at the very beginning because just to get an idea of what it really like. Press was shown it. And they turned it down because God forbid they have to be exposed to something that, to understand what Israel is defending. Then they put her on a plane, flying her to France. The back seat where it doesn't even it was the back seat in front of the toilet. It doesn't even recline, and she
I
had to
didn't
sit
know
there
that.
like a folio. And Sweden didn't even come to her defense because they
No,
were
and
like, "No."
what's even funnier too?
Hmm.
They put her on a plane. She refuses to take planes because of the environment. Yet they
I
force her on a fucking plane.
good.
Yeah,
I despise her. And anyone out there that like donates to her cause or anything like that, she's the biggest grifter of them all.
there's no bigger grifter, no bigger. And the fact that she started this when she was what 14 years old, and now she's 20 something. Like
Is
it
there a
was.
reason that she looks like 7 too? She's like Natalia Grace.
Why do I know who that is? That
It's like
is.
the documentary girl that looks like the kid that looks like a kid but is an adult.
By the way, I love
She
that
was the one that was
documentary.
adopted. Remember that?
Oh, of course I remember that.
What's up with that?
I don't know. Maybe she. I don't. Well, that whole Natalia Grace, we still don't know if she's actually that age or what age she is. But maybe she has whatever disease Natalia Grace was supposed to have, or she claims she has. I don't know.
Who are her parents?
I got to find this TikTok. I saw a TikTok of somebody who used to be a very big climate activist and was a reporter and interviewed her when she was, when she was just starting off, and interviewed Greta a couple times. And basically the parents were nowhere to be found. They were nowhere to be found.
There's a video of her getting to France, and someone said, like, how was it? And she says, people were not treated well. And the journalist says, can you elaborate? And she goes, dehumanizing. They didn't let me say goodbye. Is she okay?
No, she's not.
She's a
Not.
sick woman. What a waste of our lives.
I'm glad though that we talked about it, because I had to get so much of that off my chest, because it's been so
And
dumb.
what's crazy is how many people fall for it because they're like, she's doing such an amazing thing. She's an angel. Like she and Miss Rachel, angels.
Will you stop bringing up these names without giving me a trigger warning?
Trigger warning. Anyway, well, I know that we have to wrap it up for today, but the point is there's two sides to every story. It's important to look at like all the things, and I guess at the end of the day, like I have enjoyed a little bit of release of pressure from the Jews this week. I really have.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll come back next week, but
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Something will happen. It'll be back.
it's been nice.
Can't wait for it. And we'll be back here to talk about it.
Oh yeah, we'll find a way.
Oh yes, we will.
When there's news, when there's Jews,
There's
there's
news.
news.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that should be our little sign off every
Slogan.
week.
All right. All right. So you want to say it again?
When there's Jews, there we have to do it at the same time.
Well, okay.
When there's Jews, okay, wait, I'll say it and then we do there's news. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
When there's Jews, there's news.
news.
Why are you so slow and delayed?
How dare you?
With fat fingers too.
Oh.
Thanks, Adam, and thank you guys. Make sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, rating over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen.
And
Leave a comment below.
More wonderful comments. We love those. Love those.
Love them.
Yes.
And follow us on Instagram at Just You and Me.
Awesome.
Bye, guys. Have a good
Bye,
one.
everyone.